All right, think we're live now. Okay, let's go ahead and get to it. Hey, welcome to another edition of Gen Sports Corner. Back at you for 1/24/2021. It's the first time I've been back, guys, in the new year. It's been a little bit since I've, excuse me, posted an episode. My apologies, but we're back now, so let's hop into it. Today is NFL Championship Sunday. We're going to talk about Packers, Bucs, Bills Chiefs, man. Straight to it. But before I get into it, first off, condolences to Larry King and his family. Larry King passed away, I believe, 2 days ago. It might have been yesterday. Larry King passed away yesterday at the age of 87. Rest in peace to him. Like I said, condolences to his family. He was an American icon, a legend. Anybody knows who Larry King was. Even if you're a kid coming up now, you know who Larry King is. I mean, so you know, starting off the year with the loss of another legend. Hopefully, it isn't. We don't have too. Hey, somebody get eyes on Betty White. You keep her safe. We don't want to lose any more legends this year. Um, that being said, let's hop into this. And before I talk about the NFL slate, let me quickly touch on the fight last night. UFC main event between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor losing in the second round by Cole, but got chipped down, and um, Herb Dean had to step in, stop the fight. Hey, did this. I'll touch more on that in another. I'll actually make a video on that. I'll post it on the channel about that Dustin Poirier fought. He won that fight. What he had with Conor McGregor's and the injury he sustained, which was a direct result of Dustin Poirier's game plan and his execution of that game plan. Very impressive. He came in after losing the first fight a couple years ago. Did have that on clearly when into this fight. He had a game plan that it paid dividends early on for him. The fight at his leg. So I'll talk more. Big turn of events and yeah, on social media following the because tried with Conor McGregor. Now all that's out the window. So not that I wanted to see it, but either way, it's crazy. Blink of an eye in fighting sports. No matter how good you are or where you were a year ago, and he had the big layoff, came back, and he looked a little slow, looked a tad slow. So a lot of things changed last night after the fight with Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. So we'll talk about the fallout in another episode. I'll post up an actual video for that. That being said, let's hop right into football, shall we? So briefly, the Eagles obviously hired a new head coach, and we also got a defensive coordinator, both coming from the Indianapolis Colts. So I'm seeing a trend here, right? Seems like they saw the success that the Colts had under Frank Reich, who is a previous employee of the Eagles, and they're trying to snatch some talent from that organization because they see, hey, he turned that franchise around. Think about where the Colts were 2 years ago. All of a sudden, you have Frank Reich going into a pretty good situation with the Colts, and then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks before the season starts, Andrew Luck retires. So you're thrown into that maelstrom of just disorganization and just chaos. And somehow they get things going around Jacoby Brissett, and they just make things happen. And then this year you have Philip Rivers in there, and you went to the playoffs and you had a pretty good shot of beating the Bills, albeit falling short because of a couple of plays, but they were right there. So we look to snatch some talent from that team, and I'll talk about the hires more in another episode. But it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Why was Deuce Staley not hired, or maybe I don't even know if he was given an interview. It's very curious. So we'll talk about those things. The Texans still don't have a coach, so they're still a mess. And there's a lot of rumors linking Deshaun Watson and the Eagles, Deshaun Watson and the Jets. So we'll get into those as well at a later time. But now let's go into the first game, which is about to come on in about 8 minutes, right? Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers playing in Lambeau. Packers favored by 3 points. The over/under is 53 points total. So a lot of things have changed within the last 24 hours regarding this game, because you have two really great teams going up against each other. Let's be honest. Packers 13-3, the clear favorite in the NFC, and the Buccaneers coming on strong later in the season. You have the battle of the 12s, TB12, and then the Sheriff, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you're really talking about two all-time greats that are clashing on one of the biggest stages they can, short of meeting in the Super Bowl, right? And you have this team under Aaron Rodgers that is just playing at such a high level. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he might be the MVP this year. This might be his second MVP trophy. Honestly, if you're looking objectively at what he's done this year, I don't see how you couldn't give him the MVP. And Devontae Adams, between him and Stephon Diggs, and I would say Tyreek Hill, but the three best receivers in football, and all three of them are playing today in their respective games, right? So how do they stop Devontae Adams? And the Buccaneers had a big injury setback today because Antoine Winfield, the rookie safety, really he's been balling out. He couldn't go today. He injured his leg in practice this week. Maybe it's a high ankle sprain. Who knows? Either way, that's a huge loss. He's a ball hawk, and he's one of the top two or three safeties against the run in the league. So that's really going to affect their run defense. Aaron Jones on the other side on the Packers. The Buccaneers have a great run defense. Don't get me wrong, but to lose somebody like him, you have to worry about not now the double moves. You have to worry about the post going up the middle of the field. You have to worry about Robert Tonyan, tight end now. How they're going to cover him? Like, you're going to put more responsibility on Devin White's plate, and he stepped up this postseason so far. I mean, you can't deny that. He's a game changer for the Buccaneers, but that's going to be a big task covering Tonyan, and then who's going to match up 1-on-1 against Devontae Adams? How are you going to double him now with Antoine Winfield out? Right? Are the other safeties going to be up for that challenge? I don't know. I mean, we weren't thinking about this 2 days ago. So, that's huge, especially going against this Packers offense. And then on the other side of the ball, you look at this Buccaneers offense. They don't run the ball a lot. They get pass happy at times. However, they can run the ball when they decide to. So maybe they get something going on the ground if they stick to it enough. But they get pass happy. And another injury that came out is that Antonio Brown's not going to be in this game. He's out with a knee injury. So now you're left with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So you have Jair Alexander. I mean, he takes people out the game. He flat out takes receivers out the game. So you might think he could be on Mike Evans for a majority of the game, and then Desmond or Devin, Mr. King, the other cornerback, he's healthy for this game, so he's going to be able to be locked up on Chris Godwin. So outside of those two guys, are you going to be funneling the ball to Rob Gronkowski or Chris Godwin if they take away Mike Evans? Because now you're hampered now. Like, you no longer have that three-headed monster. Uh, Not that that's a critical blow to the Bucs, but those two injuries, man, Antonio Brown on the offensive side and Antoine Winfield Jr. on the defensive side, those are two big things. So, I mean, me personally, I was going to pick the Bucs to win this game because I think they're the better team. They beat the Packers. They beat the brakes off these dudes earlier in the year, like what, 38 to. They pretty much shut down and embarrassed Aaron Rodgers, and it's tough to beat a team 2 times in a year, let alone just stomp them out. And now you have two really unique injuries during uh, the week of practice. So I'm going to go with the Packers to win this game by maybe 4 points. when originally I was just talking to my man D Wills yesterday. Shout out to him, man, putting some work in the studio. But I was just talking to him. He's a huge Buccaneers fan, and my man Wally, he a huge Packers fan. We were just talking about this yesterday, and I was picking the Buccaneers, but this was before having this knowledge of the injury report that's coming out today. And to me, that flips it ever so slightly in favor of the Packers. So I'm going with the Packers to win today. Um, that's really my shocker. And moving on to the second game, which might be a shocker to some of you guys, but it's not to me. I said it all week with people that I talk to and whatnot. I'm, my dark horse team in this playoff race was the Buffalo Bills, flat out. Because I think the Bills are back. I thought I would never say that again in my lifetime, but the Bills are back, and I think they're one of the best all around teams in this playoff scenario. I mean, Josh. All right, so you look at the matchup between the Chiefs and the Bills. You have Josh Allen versus Pat Mahomes. You look at the offenses. The Chiefs are the number one rated offense during the season. Guess who's number two? The Bills. Chiefs are the number one ranked pass. Guess who's at number three? The Bills. They're both middle of the road. 16th ranked defense for the Chiefs, 14th ranked defense for the Bills. But I think the better defense. They have more tools on that defense. Yeah, the Chiefs have Tyrann Mathieu. They got the Honey Badger roaming around in the middle of the field. He is a chess piece in the same vein as or Charles Woodson with the Packers. He's a chess piece. Don't get me wrong. You got Frank Clark and you have the Bull Davis. Uh, you got the nose tackle up the middle, and then you have a really good edge rusher. I can't remember his name, but beyond that, Sorensen is a cool, scrappy player at safety, but they don't. Bashard Breeland, he's all right at cornerback. They don't really have a lot on defense. They scheme it up. They throw a lot of smoke and mirrors at you, but they're average. They're not bad. They're not great. They're average. And going up against this Bills team, they're high powered. Josh Allen, the wheels, he can get out on the edges and just stress the defense out. And then you have John Brown back. You have Cole Beasley in the slot. And then you have, like I said, maybe 1A in terms of the best receivers in the league, Stephon Diggs. Who the hell's going to cover him? Who? Tell me. It's not even like the Bills really run the ball that much. So, yeah, they lost Zach Moss, but they have Devin Singletary. They're not running the ball that much. And when they do, they're relying on Josh Allen to pick up the third down with his wheels. They're running read option, and they're putting the same stress on defenses that the Chiefs do on a week by week basis. And you look on the flip side this week, the Bills defense. You got Tremaine Edwards. I mean, there's going to be all eyes on Pat Mahomes, and Mr. Edwards is going to be one of them. Number 49 is going to be on him. Then you have White on the outside at cornerback, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So, he's going to be on the cheetah. So, is Travis Kelce going to take over the game? He could. Don't get me wrong. But Pat Mahomes is coming into this game fresh off a concussion from last week in that game. They just barely scraped by the skin of their teeth, right? Came out of the game with a concussion, spent this week recovering from it, and I think he'll be right for most intensive purposes, right? However, it came out that he had a turf toe injury he was also battling through, and that probably is going to be more of a factor than a concussion. And I'm gonna tell you what, they might just wave it off, say it's just turf toe, he'll work through it, it's gotten better, blah 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 blah. But trying to be the same player, scramble out the pocket, make plays, ad lib, it's so much more difficult when it feels like you're missing a toe. And no, let me change that. It doesn't feel like you're missing a toe. It feels like your toe is has gotten smashed by one of those Acme anvils off of the Looney Tunes cartoons. That's what turf toe feels like. He's not going to be, in my opinion, he'll scramble around a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be the same guy coming into this game. And if he's not, I think they're, you know what? I think the Bills, I pick the Bills regardless of whether he is healthy or not. But I think the Bills are going to heat him up. I think they're going to send the wolves after him. They're going to send the dogs after him. They're going to send the dogs after him. I think. We saw last week with the Browns. The Browns got after Mahomes at points in that game. Miles Garrett was on his tail, man, and I think the Bills are going to be on him. So the reason why I thought the Bills are going to win regardless is because you talk about two high flying offenses, two high octane quarterbacks. However, the Bills defense, in my opinion, is going to be able to slow down Mahomes at times to be as mobile as he would like, and he's probably going to be less mobile because hey, you don't want to be out there getting hit after having a concussion, and you're going to be a little compromised with the turf toe, versus a Bills team that I just don't think the Chiefs defense is going to be able to stop him nearly as often as the Bills defense will be able to stop Mahomes. So that's why I'm picking the Bills to win this game. So in my opinion, I think it's going to be Bills Packers in the Super Bowl. Let me know what you guys think. Game with the Buccaneers just started, but that's my predictions. I'm picking the Packers to meet the Bills as representatives from the NFC against the AFC. So, all right, comments briefly. Karan said, heard that Dustin Poirier beat the brakes off McGregor. Yeah, I watched the replay last night. He really didn't. The first round was a very back and forth round. Poirier was landing a lot of those calf kicks, and that was why Conor McGregor looked flat footed. And in fact, I mean, I noticed it, but I didn't realize how bad it was in the moment of watching the fight. I mean, after the fight, you could see he couldn't put any weight on the leg, but it was it was really Poirier establishing I want to get this guy fighting off of 1 foot to take away his hands because standing up, Poirier, he was getting chipped up by McGregor at points standing up in the first round. I'll just be flat out honest. Like it was going to be very clear that he wasn't going to win the game standing up. It was going to either be taking him down or whatnot. So he took out. The first round was a toss up. It was a very good round. Second round, you could see that Conor McGregor was clearly less mobile, and it I was I obviously knew the outcome when I watched the replay, but in the moment I was looking at it, and in my mind I'm like, oh, I don't know who's going to win. But one thing I noticed was that Conor McGregor looked like he was jumping in, taking a lot of chances. I'm like, you don't need to. You have the longer reach and you have faster hands. He looked a little slower yesterday, but in general, he's still the faster guy. I'm like, why are you jumping in and taking risk, unnecessary risk? And in hindsight, looking at the fight now, it's like, well, his calf was compromised. So he probably felt as though I need to go all out, empty the tank, and try to get a knockout early because by the third round, like I'm not even going to be standing up. So I think he took a lot of chances that he normally wouldn't because he was hurt. But the injury happened as a result of Poirier's game plan. So you got to give props to him. Shout out to him. So I mean, I heard he lost. I heard that McGregor lost by second round KO. So I'm like, oh man, he got the brakes beat off of him in my mind. But when I actually looked at the fight, it was actually a very good fight. Um, but Poirier, he made it happen. So go back, look at the fight, and you let me know if your calf hurts just watching McGregor take those kicks and try to check those calf kicks. It made my leg hurt just looking at it. So yeah, like I said, Manny Pacquiao, you're not going to fight McGregor now. If you're not going to fight Earl Spence, just give the belts to somebody else so they can compete for it. Allow Sean Porter to fight for the belt, for your belt, man. Like that in another video. I'll make a scripted video for that and the Eagles coaching hire because I want to go in depth to those things. But that's it for now. So I'm gonna cut this game on and see what's happening. Wilsey, um, I know you hate the Eagles, but I don't know, man. I just don't really care about the Bucs. I don't have hatred for them like I do for the Cowboys or the Giants or anything like that. So or the Patriots. So whatever. May the best team win. I don't really even hate Tom Brady. I just hated the Patriots. So I mean, I won't care if Tom Brady goes to the Super Bowl again, as long as it ain't Arf Sidious up in Boston and his cheating ass getting there again. I like seeing them uh, fall short of the playoffs, and I will kick a man when he's down. I have no qualms about that when it comes to the Cowboys or the Patriots. So that's it. Um, Thanks for tuning in. Like I said yesterday, was in this, laying some tracks. D Wills with the production. So we got some music coming your way. And I actually have a song that I'm going to be dropping next week, so stay tuned for that. And we're going to be dropping some more stuff about this Eagles coaching process because it is very bizarre in my mind. So more on that to come. Till next time, peace.